Game started.
All right. This is a game against John. John LW82. Let's try D4. Okay, knight f6, very flexible move. Let's see. The idea perhaps is to play the Grunfeld or the King's Indian. Okay, the Grunfeld. Let's try this line. I haven't seen the Grunfeld in a while, and this is what I usually play. Just kick the knight right of the way, and then you get this big center here, which black has various ways to try and attack, I guess with the moves c5 and the bishop here and the knight to c6. So one way to play is, yes, you develop the bishop to c4 and then you play your knight to e2. And then it can't be pinned. This, I guess, after a while it was discovered that knight f3 works and you don't have to play knight e2. So this is no longer the main line. It was considered sort of a main line at one time. Let's see, so he's continuing to put pressure on d4 here, so you have to always support that. So 1, 2, 3, 4 guys attacking, 1, 2, 3, 4 guys supporting. So absent any tricks, this should be okay still. Go ahead and castle. And then at some point you want to move the rook off of this diagonal, because this diagonal has a tendency to open up and the bishop pointing at the rook is pretty annoying. And the rook can go to c1 or b1 depending on if black has, depending on what black has played, basically. If he plays queen c7, then you want to play rook c1 to defend the bishop. That can be played before the exchange here. But he didn't do any of that, so we got a very typical Grunfeld. I still need to move the rook out for this diagonal, but other than that I'm doing okay, and I have my choice. Why don't I put it on the B file? Try and prevent the knight from coming into b4 here, which might be annoying, and then this bishop can maybe come back somewhere. It's not clear where the best file for that. Bishop is the best diagonal. I mean, d3 is a logical diagonal, except that it hits it hits this little pawn triangle here, which looks pretty solid. Maybe though. Let's go ahead and play d5. Decide what the structure of the center is in favor of this formation. e4 and d5. And that opens up the diagonal for his bishop. Yeah, I didn't think about this too well. So now I probably need to come back here. I don't want to trade that bishop off for his rook, but I blocked my own rook, so I've made a mistake here. But my idea with d5 is to play the bishop on d4 and counteract his bishop on this diagonal. So there maybe is still some value there. And notice the bishop is supported by the knight. So now I can kick black's knight with the move f4. Knight goes somewhere. As long as it doesn't go there with the threat, and then I can trade off the bishop, and I have a queen coming into d4 with check. So maybe this wasn't too bad. I think not the most precise way to play, because this configuration where the rook is blocked by the bishop is not ideal. Now the rook really wants to be on the c file, so didn't play in the most accurate way, but I didn't play in a way that loses yet either. So, all right, queen there. So pawn to f4. Where does the knight go? Here. There, I take it. Here is possible. And then I take the bishop with check, so he has to take back. And everything seems supported. Let's go ahead and play this. I think it should be okay.
Check.
Now I have to worry about knight coming into in d3. Could just take the knight. But maybe I should. Where else is the knight going? The knight could come here, 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 there. Maybe I just go here first.
Check.
And then take it, and then, yeah, that wins a pawn. Because I'm holding on to this pawn. And he can't block the check with the queen or the knight. He's got to move the king or block with a pawn. Then I'll grab his knight. So I think this worked out okay. We'll see if black can come up with something here. He's pausing to think. Always a good sign. Oh, that's tricky. Yeah, you gotta be careful about these possibilities. So I can't take on passant. Well, I could take on passant. Queen takes, knight takes. But I think it's stronger to take with the pawn. Oh, but then he takes with the knight. Can I attack his knight? So if I take en passant, queen takes, knight takes, and he takes back the pawn, I guess, and then this is still here. Is there other moves? Moving the queen is possible, I guess. Then he can take on f4. So if I take here, I guess he takes with the... he could take either way, couldn't he? He could take with the queen or the knight. Queen takes. Can I take here? Queen takes. Knight takes. Pawn takes. Does not seem that great. Well, it would mess up his pawn, so it'd be okay for me. So he should probably take with the knight here. That's what I'm expecting. Knight takes. E4. And then I've got like this pin on the knight, but I can't easily exploit it. Yeah, so I thought if he took there, he's threatening anything with the queen, not especially. So I can take the knight. And so what I get out of this is, well, he gets past pawn, but it's isolated, and I will attack it.
Check.
With my rook. And well, let's stop and think. He can immediately go after the e-pawn, so maybe I should attack it with the other rook. So that this rook is available to support the e-pawn. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. I could consider supporting from the side, but he could harass the rook there. Yeah, that's not working. So supporting from behind. So this is still hanging, and he can't get there with his bishop in time. Just his lack of development caught up with him. But he's going to get his rook to the 7th rank. Okay, so it's a trade-off here. Yeah, I can just drop my rook back to c2 if he plays rook b2. I can play rook c2. Or even rook a4, hitting his pawn, but that's not defending my pawn. Not so promising. I guess it'd be better just to get rid of that rook. So he's going after my knight. But now, let's see, if I go here... I guess I have to defend the knight. A little bit awkward here, but now maybe I bring my king in. Everything's on dark squares except for these pawns. So his bishop doesn't have a whole lot to do here. But there may be some tactics he can find with his bishop. I shouldn't be too blasé here. But more likely, the tactics he has, maybe he could consider pushing f4 or bishop f5. Pushing f5 or playing the bishop to f5. So now I could play knight takes, and he could take with the pawn. Then I could push on with e5.
Check.
So if he interposes, yeah. So rook takes, pawn takes. Then I push on with d6. He takes on e5. I push on with d7, and then I'm queening. He can push this pawn. Okay, so he can't take my pawn, but he can push his pawn. So if he plays e3, I play rook d4. Okay, let's bring my king up then. Yeah, this threat to e3 was really a bit worrisome. So I take en passant with the check. He takes, and then king here attacks his pawn. He comes forward, and I push my pawn forward. I've got 2-on-1 over here. I think
check.
This should be okay for me. Maybe not winning. Hard to say. This is a winning king and pawn ending, so he can't actually take that pawn. He might have some other idea here, I don't know. But if the rook moves away, I'm going to push the pawn. The only thing I wasn't sure about was whether, let's go ahead and push the pawn now. If the rook ever moves away, I want to be able to queen almost immediately. So then I'm just going to play h4, g5, get a passed pawn here, and one of these guys will break through. Because the queen will have the, I'm going to ignore this on this side. I hope that is okay. The rook will have to move away from the d pawn to stop the g pawn, and then I can queen and I'll be rook up. Okay, well, let's take this way. I think the further the pawn is away from the king, the better for me. He's got to travel further to try and stop it. And if I can support this pawn with my king, that's also a win. Because I can get up here and chase his rook away and queen. And I don't even have to lose this pawn. So let's go ahead and support it. Why give an inch? Don't give any chances to your opponent. If you can help it, do not give him any chances.
Black resigns.
Okay. Yeah, so I have a straightforward win here. So I will demonstrate that in the post-mortem. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and see you again soon. Bye.